Hey, we are Bonnie and Sean. We are on a year of sabbatical and are using the year to travel the world. In our last two videos, we visited the awesome city of London, where we spent 3 days exploring the sights. But all good things have to end, and it is time to say goodbye to London. In this special voice-over only episode, we document our travels to the town of Rugby, Stratford-upon-Avon, Burton-on-the-Water, Leamington Spa, and Cambridge. We were hosted by two of our wonderful friends living and working in the United Kingdom. So sit back, relax, and join us as we bring you through each of the towns. Our journey to Rugby involved taking a total of 3 trains. We first went on board the Elizabeth line, then the local tube, and finally an express train which took us straight to Rugby. It was around noon when we got to Rugby, and our first location of the day was a restaurant called the Tuning Fork. Lunch was a full English breakfast and a grilled chicken breast with 2 sides. Our friend helped us special ordered the full English breakfast as it is only available for breakfast. This was our first time having a full English breakfast, and we quickly realized that most of the items were really saltish. Something we really wanted to try was an item called black pudding. It is some kind of a blood sausage made from pork or beef blood with fats and cereal. Yes, there are some cereal inside. In my opinion, the black pudding tasted like a mix between sausage and innards, and I don't really like it. The grilled chicken breast was actually pretty good, and it contrasts deeply with the full English breakfast. One was light and somewhat healthy, while the other was heavy, salty, oily, and unhealthy, but much more tasty. When we were done having lunch, we made our way to the town of Stratford-upon-Avon, where we tried to visit Shakespeare's birthplace. The attraction was really very crowded, and sadly, they were already sold out for the day. As we weren't able to enter the attraction, we walked around the town and visited a nearby park which has a river Avon, and it has lots of swan and ducklings in it. This is probably the first time both of us saw so many swans and ducklings. The next location our friends drove us to was Burton-on-the-Water, a village in the rural Cotswold area of south central England. Once there, we visited the Burton-on-the-Water Model Village. Even though the Model Village was quite a small attraction, it was actually a pretty interesting one. It is a very detailed mini village, and what makes it impressive is that the Model Village is actually modeled after the actual village. All would have been good if not for the rain though. It began to rain when we got to the Model Village, and it continued to rain throughout our stay at Burton-on-the-Water. Thus, we weren't able to walk much around the village. It was kind of a shame, as it would have been interesting to see more of the real-life buildings which the models in the Model Village are based on. The last town we visited was Leamington Spa. As it was raining when we got there, we just drove around the streets. Leamington Spa is a spa town like Bath, and it is known for its uniform white buildings. To be honest, both of us felt that the vibes and the buildings in Bath were better compared to Leamington Spa. Day 1 ended with us being all tired. We never would have thought we have the time to travel to Rugby from London and visit 3 towns in a single day. Day 2 was our visit to the university town of Cambridge. The town of Cambridge was a little underwhelming. I guess after visiting Bath, all the old and traditional towns in the United Kingdom were either comparable or paled in comparison to it. Cambridge was the former. When we got there, we walked around the town while taking in the sights. Some notable ones were the Corpus Clock, a strange looking clock which is quite hypnotic to watch. When the hour strikes, there isn't any chime. Instead, the shaking of the chain and a hammer hitting a wooden coffin will be heard. It is a rather morbid sound, and it represents the passing of time which ultimately leads to death. The clock is also only accurate every 5 minutes, which symbolizes that time is relative to us all. The statue of Henry VIII, which is holding a leg of a chair instead of a sword. So why is he holding a leg of a chair instead of a sword? The culprit was actually a cleaner who took a leg off an old broken chair and put it there when he noticed that the statue was missing something. The Newton's tree, the tree outside the entrance of the Trinity College. It was originally grafted from the actual tree that resides at Newton's childhood home. The Eagle Pub. This is the pub where the human DNA was discovered. And lastly, the plaque of Alan Turing. This is a plaque to signify that the genius once studied and worked in the building. The main activity we were looking to do at Cambridge was punting. A punt is a flat-bottomed boat with a square cut bow, designed for use in small rivers and shallow water. And punting is just taking one of these boats along the river while looking at the various Cambridge buildings. To be honest, it was rather pricey. We paid £40 for 2 persons. While we were walking along the streets of Cambridge, there were actually a lot of touts offering punting services, but our friend had already got a recommendation online which was the cheapest in all of Cambridge. But before we went to the punting booth, we stopped by a highly recommended ice cream parlor called Jack's Gelato, where we purchased some ice cream to eat. They were very delicious. There is actually an option to punt the punt ourselves, but the staff advised against doing that as it was quite a windy day. As we needed to wait to join a group guided punt, we went to have lunch. Lunch was spent at a restaurant called Arumi. It is also another highly recommended place to dine at. They sell sliced pizzas and we bought 4 to share amongst us. The pizza slices were really awesome and they were totally worth the wait. And the wait, hahaha. The bread and crust were crispy and there were lots of ingredients on top of the pizza. The punting session was rather short in the sense that it was a loop, which meant that we saw the same buildings on the way back. After we got seated, a guide punted us through the river, and while we passed the various buildings of the Cambridge colleges, the guide gave us some background as well as history of the buildings. One of such buildings is the Wren Library at Trinity College. It has the manuscript of Winnie the Pooh as well as Isaac Newton's notebook with a lot of his hair. Yes. It was a shame that the library is closed on Sunday, and so we were not able to visit it. And that is all we have for our short 2 days trip to visit 4 towns in England. Thanks for joining us today, and we will see you in our next video. Bye!
Mini Village 1, Mini Village 2, Mini Village 3.